First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Police say a dangerous drug could be mistaken for candy this Halloween. Coming up, we'll show you why.
A new construction project in Alachua could add time to the local commute. We'll have the details.
The Honorable Paul D. Ryan of the state of Wisconsin, having received a majority of the votes cast, is duly elected as Speaker of the House.
And big news from Capitol Hill, Paul Ryan becomes the 54th Speaker of the House. We start tonight with the first execution in Florida in 9 months, the lethal injection of an Orlando man who murdered his family 30 years ago. That's our top story. I'm Jenna Sands.
And I'm Rafael Pierce, filling in for James Torres. Thanks for joining us. In less than 2 hours, Jerry Correll, a convicted killer, will be executed for the 4 murders he committed 30 years ago. It's been 3 decades since Correll brutally stabbed to death his 5-year-old daughter, ex-wife, and her sister and mother. The 59-year-old Correll will receive a lethal injection that is planned to kill him. It is the first in the nation to use a sedative, causing controversy since the U.S. Supreme Court okayed its use in June. Despite several botched executions in Oklahoma, Ohio, and Arizona, the state set Correll's execution in February, but it was delayed pending the outcome of the U.S. Supreme Court case brought by Oklahoma prisoners. The High Court ruled that the inmates' attorneys did not prove the drug was cruel and unusual punishment. While Florida has continued to use the drug, other states like Ohio have stopped using it altogether.
Paul Ryan has been elected as the 54th Speaker of the House, placing him second in line for the presidency. In traditional fashion, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi handed over the Speaker's gavel to Ryan after former Speaker John Boehner left the podium. During his first address to the chamber as Speaker, Ryan appealed to House members to cooperate and called for a greater degree of respect among the parties. He also urged lawmakers on both sides to focus on the concerns of working families.
Only a fully functioning House can truly represent the people. And if there were ever a time for us to step up, this would be that time.
Ryan has served in Congress for 17 years and is the youngest Speaker of the House since 1869.
More road work is underway at the I-75 interchange for the city of Alachua.
Traffic is pinched on Highway 441 for an unusual project. Eldrin Rucker visited the scene today and joins us now to tell us what's going on.
Well, the area has seen one project after another, and drivers are starting to get frustrated. The job is an unusual one, actually lowering the highway at the interstate overpass. But like the new on-ramp for I-75 South, this work on Highway 441 is due to safety concerns.
I get at all because shoot, this morning I got called in there. I left my house at 6:50. I was supposed to be at my job at 8. I got to the highway at 8.
With road construction now underway on 441 at I-75 near Alachua, drivers will have to plan on delays. The work is due to a safety issue for semis.
Some of the trucks were clipping the top of that overpass and trying to be proactive because it would be less minimal invasive to lower the road than it would be to replace the whole overpass bridge.
During the rebuild, the southbound side is hosting two-way traffic with a concrete barrier separating one lane each way. As part of the pavement reconstruction process, these northbound lanes have been completely shut down. Now the goal is to lower the surface 1 foot to allow more clearance under the I-75 overpass, which is the height difference from here on the road to here on the sidewalk. Commuters will have to deal with this for about 3 months.
Honestly, I don't like it at all.
I'm self-employed and I do landscaping, and for me, I'm going to avoid the area as much as possible. So, I mean, that's going to be bad for local businesses because, I definitely would want to stop where, the things are convenient for me, and I usually stop here. So, of course, this is going to be off the list from now on.
But the overpass issue is not the only road work in the area. I-75 is being resurfaced, and the 12-mile stretch from Alachua to Gainesville could take up to 1 year to finish. Also, the speed limit for 441 near the underpass has been reduced to 35 miles an hour. You should also be aware that speeding fines are doubled when workers are present in that work zone. Eldrin Rucker, WUFT News.
Thanks, Elgin. Halloween is statistically more dangerous when it falls on the weekend. Fatal injuries from motor accidents rise nearly 50% when Halloween falls on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And according to AAA, the majority of parents say they're not more concerned about safety with Halloween falling on Saturday, but some parents say they always take precautions on Halloween regardless of the day of the week.
But we try to stay safe by wearing brighter costumes, carrying a flashlight or glow sticks, traveling together and not running in the road and really being cautious when we're together.
Like she said, AAA also recommends to bring a flashlight and wear visible colored costumes. Drivers are encouraged to reduce distractions, including eating or talking on the phone, to stay concentrated on the road. It also helps to add reflective tape to costumes and treat buckets. If there is a time to be extra careful on the road, it is Saturday.
And hopefully some nice weather will also help you on the roads this weekend.
That's right. UF forecaster Rebecca Kopelman joins us now from the Weather Center. Rebecca, can we expect to see some nice weather for Halloween?
Yes, you can. In fact, the weather that started this afternoon that's been so comfortable and nice will be continuing through your Halloween. And I'll break down that forecast more later on in the show. Let's talk about right now because it's been a gorgeous day. This is all behind a front that has moved through the area, and that has not dropped our temperatures, but it's dropped the humidity. So our temperatures are still in the 80s, but the dew points are in the 60s and the low 60s. So that means it's making it feel much more comfortable outside, and I'm sure you can tell the difference. And looking outside now from the University of Florida's campus, just a few clouds in the sky, but a beautiful day. 83 degrees right now on the campus with just a light breeze. Definitely a nice one, and will continue to be a nice night. Temperatures will be falling quickly through the night. 69 degrees by 10 o'clock down to 64 by 2 a.m. and lows across the area will be near 60 degrees, possibly in some areas in the upper 50s. So a cool night, nothing out of the ordinary though, and none of these temperatures are going to be out of the ordinary for this evening. Will be a little bit cool, and there could be some fog by morning. Back to you.
Thanks, Rebecca. A Southwest Florida teen has woken up from a medically induced coma after being attacked for a pair of headphones. 18-year-old Damian Warner was put into a medically induced coma after a major hemorrhage on the right side of his brain. His mom says his doctor didn't think he would make it.
I asked him, bawling my eyes out, is my son going to live? And he told me, ma'am, your son may not live.
Damian's friend was wearing Beats headphones at the time and says the attackers were trying to rip them off his neck before they broke. Detectives caught the guy who punched Damian to the ground. He's a juvenile who is now facing felony battery charges. 15 people were injured today when they had to quickly evacuate a plane that had caught on fire. Officials say Boeing 767 was about to depart for Venezuela from Fort Lauderdale when leaked fuel led to an engine fire. The more than 100 passengers were quickly evacuated using emergency slides. The plane belonged to a charter company that makes a few regularly scheduled flights each week to South America.
A dramatic rescue in St. Petersburg has been caught on video. Flooding from a rainstorm trapped a 27-year-old driver in her car. After the woman drove into rising floodwaters, firefighters had to climb into the back of her sinking SUV, break through the rear windshield, and pull her to safety. Firefighters say they had to be very careful so they wouldn't be swept away with the floodwater as well.
We had to improvise. We had to use our life safety rope and our personal flotation devices for our own safety. And we made sure we had anchor points and people on the outside to make sure that no one drifted off.
Firefighters were able to get the woman to safety, and paramedics took her to a local hospital to get her checked out for minor injuries. Crews spent several hours yesterday moving the SUV from the water. And in Palm Beach County, sheriff's deputies might have rounded up one of the slowest travelers on the road. Deputies pulled over this tortoise yesterday on Gateway Boulevard in Boynton Beach. Corporal Cresswell and another deputy put the tortoise in the back of the patrol vehicle and brought it to the Bush Wildlife Sanctuary, but not before they snapped the picture of their new friend to share on Facebook. And WUFT News First at 5 is just getting started. Coming up, Halloween is Saturday, and monsters won't be the only scary thing on the streets. See what could be lurking in your kids' Halloween candy.
Plus, tuberculosis may be more of a health scare than you've ever imagined. I'll tell you more about that coming up.
And we've had beautiful weather for today, and if you're wondering if it's going to continue over these next few days, I'm going to break it down for you coming up after the break. Stay with us.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. Adults often worry about street safety and checking candy before little ones dig in, but now police are reminding high school and college students to keep their guard up.
Ecstasy, or Molly, is a party drug, and now police say there are so many shapes and colors that it sometimes just looks like candy. WFT's Darling Hill has a story.
Halloween is a time for candy, costumes, and trick-or-treating. But what about when the trick is actually real? When shown this picture, one student didn't even know what it was.
Candy.
For candy?
Yeah.
But his assumption was far from the truth.
With the availability of synthetic narcotics, it's making it easier for people to disguise drugs as candy.
Young children could potentially be victims, but college students may be more likely to be pranked. College students are being warned to watch what they eat when they go to Halloween parties this weekend because bowls of candy might actually have something else in them. With drinking going on at parties, some people might not even know they have taken drugs accidentally. It is important to know what the symptoms are and what should be done if this were to happen.
Can give them profound dehydration, nausea, vomiting.
Victims should immediately go to the emergency room for treatment, but there are some efforts students can take to stay safe.
Make sure it's a reputable party, make sure it's someone that you know, and make sure that if there's candy out in the open that it's recognizable. Just if you have suspicions on something, just follow your gut. Your suspicions are usually correct.
When it comes to candy, these girls have decided to take other precautions.
Unless it's wrapped, I don't think I'll eat it.
I'm not even going to eat wrapped candy now.
Okay.
Police say synthetic drugs like ecstasy and spice are worrisome because of the changing formulas, unpredictable reactions, and sometimes tainted batches hitting the streets. And moving on to health news.
Danielle Prinz joins us now.
Well, today's news ranges the full coverage of health care all the way to chocolate. In just a few days, open enrollment season will begin for health care coverage. Consumers can start window shopping now for the best plans to suit their needs. Consumer-friendly upgrades have been added to the healthcare.gov, including simplifying the re-enrollment process. You'll have to wait until November 1st to actually select the plans, and then coverage will begin on January 1st. But prices and plans are now posted online at healthcare.gov. 2 Canadian teenagers are getting a lot of attention for their medical invention. With help from a university, the 2 boys brought the idea of a heart monitoring watch to life. The device tracks critical data like blood pressure, and when it recognizes the user is going to have a heart attack, it notifies an ambulance or caregiver. The idea came from one of the boys' growing concerns for his mom's health.
So my mom has many illnesses, one of them being hard of hearing, sight, and she's starting to have a heart problem. So when I leave for school, I'm concerned that she might not get the help that she needs.
The boys were invited to show off their invention to dignitaries, including Prince Edward. As you can imagine, he was happy to see people so young coming up with great products. Both inventors are headed to college, where they plan to continue developing and marketing the heart watch. The World Health Organization says tuberculosis is now on par with AIDS as a leading cause of death from infectious disease. In the U.S., it's not as severe but remains a problem, and in Florida ranks 10th among the state's infection rates. Almost 600 cases of tuberculosis were reported in Florida last year, 6 in Alachua County. The good news is in the U.S. that the infection rates have been decreasing for several years.
TB is one of the most important infectious diseases globally, and even though it doesn't affect the United States like it once did, it's still very important in certain select groups. And it's important to know that despite the fact that rates are going down in the U.S., until TB is eliminated everywhere, it's not eliminated anywhere.
The bacteria can spread from speaking or coughing, but if caught in time, the disease can almost always be treated and cured. Early symptoms include a bad cough that lasts 3 weeks or longer, pain in the chest, and fatigue. Coughing up blood is a symptom that develops later. The CarFit program is making its way to Gainesville to help mature drivers become safer. 2 weeks ago, I shared a story with you about a woman named Jane. She went through the CarFit program in Ocala to help her master the positioning adjustments needed to stay in control while driving her car. There will be a similar workshop at the Alachua County Senior Center on Tuesday. Log on to carfit.org to make an appointment. Many times people have justified eating chocolate because they've been told it's good for you. But to get any benefits from chocolate, you must consume more than 700 calories of dark chocolate or more than 8,000 calories of milk chocolate each day. And by then, you've probably consumed many more sugars than recommended. Experts say chocolate can be better than hard, sticky candy or baked desserts, but should still be a treat and not a regular fix. Well, I think many children this weekend are definitely going to be hitting that calorie mark.
Yeah, it almost seems like the more chocolate, the better.
Yeah, personally, I don't think you can have too much of a good thing, but that's just me. Thanks, Danielle. Usually about this time of year, I carry a light jacket with me, especially getting this close to November.
Yeah, I've been managing to leave mine at home a lot because it's been so warm lately. UF forecaster Rebecca Kopelman joins us now. Rebecca, are we to continue expecting all of this warm weather?
Well, my forecast isn't calling for the jackets anytime soon, and it is unusual that these temperatures are so warm. It is above average for this time of year, but can't complain about it too much because at least it's comfortable now outdoors. So here's the 3 big things you need to know. First of all, it's the perfect pattern for this weekend. Even though it's a little warm, it's feeling comfortable outside. That's for your Friday and Saturday. Our next front that comes through is going to be a weak one, so there's just a slight chance for a few showers late Sunday and Monday. And we do continue with those above normal temperatures with highs in the 80s and lows in the 60s for the next 10 days. And in fact, I have my exclusive 10-day forecast coming up for you in just a few moments. But right now we had one front move through, and that's what brought the comfortable conditions of the day. Another front is just on our doorstep. This is the one I'm talking about. This one's going to be moving through tomorrow and is just going to reinforce the nice, beautiful weather. So I'm not anticipating any rainfall along this front, but there is some moisture ahead of it. So that could lead to some fog in the morning. Very similar to this morning, we had some dense fog advisories in effect. So there could be some dense fog developing in the overnight hours that could spread throughout the area up until about 8 o'clock in the morning. So when you're heading out to work, take some precautions, take it a little bit slower on the roads in the morning. The rest of the day, though, will be beautiful. You can see in the morning a few of those clouds passing through and some of that fog possibly. Temperatures are going to be in the 60s. They'll be cool. Some spots, some outlying areas could get down into the 50s, and tonight the temperatures will be falling fast and it'll be seasonably cool, nothing out of the ordinary for tonight. In the afternoon, a few of those clouds will be passing by, possibly a sprinkle along the nature coast. Otherwise, still warm, temperature near 82 in Gainesville, 85 down in Ocala. It'll be warm but not humid, still feeling comfortable outside, so another very enjoyable day. If you're not staying in town though, you're possibly hitting the road going to Jacksonville and you're going to watch the Gators take on the Georgia Bulldogs. Well, it'll be nice on Friday, a little nice breeze with temperatures in the 80s, warm and dry on Saturday. Clouds will be building on Sunday with that next front that will be moving through. If you're staying in town though, want to know what it's going to be like for Halloween in Gainesville, well, here's your forecast. Temperatures will be falling into the 70s and it'll be nice and comfortable outside. You can get your other cities at ufweather.org/forecast. Now, if you're wondering when the next chance for rain is, because we haven't had a lot of it, well, it could start on Sunday evening with our next system that moves through. Most of the rainfall, though, will likely be in the Panhandle and other portions of the southeast as this front does slide through. Could have a few showers on Monday, and we could still have some lingering moisture through Tuesday, but we do gradually start to clear out thereafter. So here's your 10-day outlook. Not a lot of changes on the way in these fronts, not really bringing any cool snaps. So our temperatures are actually going to be staying above average as we head into November. You're really not going to be needing any of those jackets. May need the umbrellas on Sunday and Monday. Otherwise, temperatures staying in the 80s during the day and in the 60s at night. Back to you.
Thanks, Rebecca. In Florida soccer's 21 years, they have dominated the SEC, winning the conference in more than half of those seasons.
The Gators get a chance to claim another title tonight. WFT sports anchor Connor Ingalls joins us now.
Yeah, Florida is on the road at Georgia tonight for their final game of the regular season. And like you guys said, a chance to win the SEC. Coming up, we'll hear what Becky Burleigh says is Florida's motivation tonight. Plus, a coach you might have heard of before made his debut in the NBA last night. All of that and more in sports after the break. Becky Burleigh has led the Gators to 13 SEC titles in her 21 years as Florida's only head soccer coach. With Halloween nearly upon us, the Gators hope 13 isn't their unlucky number as they go for conference title number 14 tonight on the road at Georgia. Welcome back to sports. I'm Connor Ingalls. All number 6 Florida needs is a win over the Dogs to claim the SEC crown. Burleigh admits the Gators are excited they get the opportunity to do so against Georgia, but not for the reason you might think.
I'm not sure there's animosity there. I think it's great that Georgia is playing well right now. They had a tremendous weekend, and we're excited about that because, again, if we're focusing on progress, then that's not a threat for us because we look at it as, okay, we're going to get to play a team who's playing at their best right now, and that's only going to help us to play at our best.
You can watch the Gators go for the conference title on the SEC Network tonight. Kickoff is at 7. While there may not be animosity between the Gators and Bulldogs on the pitch, it seems a little different when the two schools meet on the football field. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that's what's going down on Saturday in Jacksonville. Much like tonight's soccer match, the event formerly known as the world's largest outdoor cocktail party has major SEC implications. With the win, the number 11 Gators will all but wrap up an SEC East title, which of course means a trip to Atlanta for the conference championship game in December. Head coach Jim McElwain is a believer, like many coaches, that turnovers determine who wins football games. So McElwain is happy to have Treon Harris, who's thrown only 3 interceptions in his college career, as his quarterback heading into Florida's most important game of the season.
Well, as you know, your opportunity to win comes in the turnover category. And, we stress pretty well every day what color jersey we're in. And he does a pretty good job of throwing it to that color jersey. And the importance of playing that position and taking care of the football, I think sometimes is lost. And I think he does an outstanding job of that.
Don't worry, Mac knocked on wood moments later. The perception is that Georgia is on the slide after losing to Alabama and Tennessee, but the Dogs can take the lead in the SEC East with a win, so both sides should be fired up as always. Kickoff Saturday is at 3:30 on CBS. The Miami Dolphins have completely flipped the script under interim head coach Dan Campbell. The Fins have won 2 straight since he took over a few weeks back, but tonight Campbell faces the biggest challenge of his young head coaching career. Standing across the field will be 4-time Super Bowl winning head coach Bill Belichick, whose Patriots have won the division 12 of the last 15 years. A win tonight for Miami would be huge in more ways than just keeping the momentum rolling. The Dolphins trail the unbeaten Pats by 3 games in the AFC East, so keeping hopes alive in the division would have to start tonight. Kickoff in Foxborough, Massachusetts is at 8:25 on CBS. Teams who have won the first 2 games of the World Series at home all time have gone on to win the series 31 out of 36 times. If you crunch the numbers on that and you carry the 1, I think that comes out to about 81.6% of the time. That's what was on the line for Johnny Cueto and the Royals last night as they hosted the Mets, leading the series 1-0. There's Johnny. He went up against Jacob deGrom. We pick it up in the top of the 4th in a scoreless game. Johnny, not so good on this pitch, but who can blame him going against the scorching hot Lucas Duda? Duda brings in Daniel Murphy on the RBI single, and the Mets are up 1-0 in the 5th. It all falls down for New York. Alcides Escobar singles right back up the pipe, and that brings in a run to tie the game. deGrom was able to get to 2 outs with just that 1 run allowed, but couldn't close out the inning. Eric Hosmer this time with another single straight into center field. 2 runs come in, and the Royals lead it 3-1. They would add 4 more runs by the time we pick it up in the 9th. KC leading 7-1 now. Cueto still on the mound. He gets Yoenis Cespedes to pop out and give the Royals that important 2-0 series lead. Cueto gives up only 2 hits in the win. Game 3 is tomorrow in New York. Billy Donovan means a lot to so many people around North Florida after the way he built the Florida Gator basketball program. Fans had to be sad to see him go, but you had to crack a smile last night as Donovan took the next step in his career, coaching his first ever NBA game. Kevin Durant making his return to the Oklahoma City lineup after a foot injury caused him to miss 55 games last season. It was a great game throughout in the 4th. OKC down 1 before Durant changes that. Hits the 3 from the top of the key to put the Thunder in the lead. A minute left. Oklahoma City still up by 2. Durant feeling himself here. Misses the 3 though. Serge Ibaka tips the rebound to himself and then sends it out to Russell Westbrook. Russ ends up draining the 3. Shows he's got swag on and off the court. Daps up his teammates in the middle of the play. The Thunder would hold on from there, so Billy D starts his NBA career with a big win. Florida's NBA ball clubs also started their seasons last night. Orlando dropped a tough 1 to the Wizards. John Wall hit a game winner with 12 seconds left, but Miami got a win over the Hornets. Chris Bosh returned to the court to score 21 points for the Heat. And guys, today, Don Mattingly hired by the Miami Marlins to be their new manager.
Yeah, I know they've had an interim for a long time now, so it's good to see they finally got a new manager.
And Mattingly won 3 straight division titles in LA before being fired, so he's a proven manager.
Let's hope they can turn it around. Thanks, Connor. And students at the Santa Fe Teaching Zoo are getting ready for their 21st annual Boo at the Zoo. Guests are welcome to come to the zoo for a family-friendly trick-or-treating event on Halloween. Boo at the Zoo is a student-run event that focuses on giving back to the community. While the event is free, families are encouraged to bring canned food items to donate.
Before we go, one last check on the weather.
Here's Rebecca.
Some fog may develop in the morning, and it could be dense, similar to this morning. So you want to take some precautions on the roadways, developing in the overnight hours just after 3 a.m. and could spread across much of the area before it dissipates close to about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning when the sun finally comes out and gets rid of it. Temperatures in the morning, though, will be a bit cool, so you will notice a little bit of a change, but it's not going to be that cool. It's still above average for this time of year. 60 in Gainesville, 62 in Lake City, 63 in Cedar Key. And they'll be falling quickly this evening, and it'll be a nice night tonight as another front moves through. So that's going to reinforce this comfortable weather, meaning it's going to feel nice, even though our temperature is going to be in the 80s for this weekend. It'll be feeling nice outside, even getting down to the 50s on Saturday morning. Otherwise, a slight chance for rain returns with our next frontal system, but it's really just a little chance coming back for Sunday through Tuesday. Back to you.
Thanks, Rebecca. We'll be back tomorrow at 5, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org.
And here on WUFT TV, BBC World News is coming up next, and the PBS NewsHour is at 7 o'clock. Have a good night.